20 international chess professionals converge here in St. Louis for the 2017 Winter Chess Classic. Hello, chess fans, and welcome to round number 5. We're at the halfway point for the Winter Chess Classic. We go into Hump Day with David Howell in the lead in Group A. His counterpart in Group B is Andrei Barish-Politz, who also leads by half a point. These players will earn top-level tournament experience, but also there's a $20,000 prize fund at stake. The winner of Group A nets $5,000. The winner of Group B nets $4,000. In Group A, we have Grandmaster Sam Sevian, who still holds the record for the youngest American Grandmaster ever. Today, he had a game that, well, maybe not. Maybe you'd like to forget after today. We'll take a look at it against Grandmaster Ipatov. So, Sam, you had the white pieces. Take us through this game. It looked like you were winning for a while.
Yeah, that was a bit annoying that I couldn't find a win here, but I found, I think, a good move, bishop f5. Defending the very strong pawn on d7, and white has ideas of rook c8 now. Winning material. So here I think he had about half an hour and I had 3 minutes, and he chose the most practical move, h6, which loses, but it worked out in the game. The moves I was considering while he was thinking was knight d7. Here I found a nice win, bishop f4, knight takes f4, bishop h7, king h8, knight f7, king h7, knight d8. And if he plays queen d5, queen f8, queen d8, here knight d5. I think rook takes f8, queen takes f8, check, king g8, queen e8, and white wins. If knight takes h3, similar, gh, queen d8, check, queen e8, and he can't go knight c6, rook c6, winning. The most resilient move was probably knight f6, which I expected, but here after a move like bishop b2, threatening bishop f6, knight e4, queen h5, white should be close to winning here. So he played h6, which loses, but playing against my time kind of helped him. Knight takes f7. It's so tempting. I didn't really consider anything else. Even knight e4, knight f3, bishop takes g6, fg. They're probably all good, but I think this is the best move. King takes f7, queen h5. Yeah, here I miss this move, rook c8. It just ends the game immediately. And he has nothing to do. If he takes bishop c8, I don't even have to take that. I can give check. It's just mate. Yeah, just mate. If he takes, it's the same thing. Here, takes, check. I just noticed that it's equal material now, and he's getting mated, so I thought I'm down a piece here. I just win the piece back, and we're just completely winning. Yeah, so that's really not difficult at all. Okay, I played queen h5, which is kind of natural. He has two ways of defending the knight. If he played queen d6, if he plays knight d7, bishop g6, knight g6, rook f4, king g8, queen g6, white wins because the d7 pawn is yeah, here I have queen e6 check, picking up the rook. Queen d6, knight e4, queen b6. Here I had about mid-round clock, so I played there are like 8-9 winning moves here. I played bishop b2, which allows knight ef4. Notice that I moved it away and I allowed him to jump to f4. Anything wins here. Bishop d2 is probably the nicest, threatening bishop a5, and then deflecting the queen. If knight goes to e7, I still have bishop a5, because if he takes bishop g6, then I pick up the queen. But moves like g3 win, stopping knight f4, they're not that trivial, but they should all win. I chose bishop b2, which throws away the win. Now he goes knight f4, queen g4. And here he spent pretty much almost all his time on finding the draw. Initially he wanted to play h5, but there's a nice win here. Check. check. And now I check on h5. And rook h4 mate.
Huh.
Yeah. But he found queen takes b3, which incredibly holds the game. Yeah, now I took bishop g6, knight g6, queen f5 check, king g8. Now white has many options, but none of them actually win. For example, if I take g6, he can probably take b2, but he can also take here, king h8, and the bishop slides to h7, and he just defends everything. Now I'm threatening mate, and he can't take the queen because of the pin, but he has queen d1 check, exchanging queens and winning the game himself. Just note that he can't take the rook here because of knight f6 check and queen h7 mate. So knight f6 check, gf, queen takes g6. If queen e6, king h7, check here. I thought this wins initially, but then I saw queen d1 check, queen d6 check, and I lose the bishop. So I took on g6, bishop g7 check, king h7. And now I got to move 40, and I was a bit unhappy here because I threw away the win. Yeah, queen takes d8. If I go rook g4, he just gives check and takes on d7. Check, king h8, and I'm just losing because I can't take on f6 with queen d6. So I played queen d8, and he found the draw pretty quickly. Queen d1 check. It's a nice draw. If he takes the rook, this is what I calculated initially. I go queen e7, and he just has no perpetual or no way to threaten mate. For example, if queen d5, f3, queen d1, king h2, bishop takes f3, d8 queen, queen c2, threatening mate. Now I have queen takes g7, queen f6, mate, myself. If he plays queen c2, it's the same thing, I just queen. If he plays queen c6, f3, queen b6. Now it's important to play king h1, because if king h2, he has queen takes b2, bishop takes f3. Check, queen, check, check. And because I have an extra queen, he has no perpetual, I just block on the e file. So the draw was queen d1 check, king h2, queen d6 check. And if I go f4, which I thought works, he has queen d2, and I'm actually losing here. It's really nice because I have so much extra material, but nothing to do. His king is so safe. I can't stop queen takes g2. If I go g3, the mate's on this diagonal. And if I try being fancy with like rook f4, queen takes f4, king g1, now he has queen g5. And again, I don't think I can stop mate here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My best chance was rook c8, winning on the spot, and it's just pretty simple. And
Well, so Sam, was it at move 40 when you kind of took a breath and realized that the win had slipped away?
yeah.
So how would you evaluate your situation so far? You're 2.5 for 5. We still have 4 rounds left to go. What are your feelings on the tournament thus far?
Yeah, I think I'm playing pretty well, but my execution isn't too good. I messed up 2 winning positions completely, and I scored half in those games. Yeah, but overall, I think I'm doing pretty okay so far.
Well, I wish you the best in the upcoming round, Sam. Thank you for joining me. Let's take a look at how everyone else did after all draws today in Group A. Thus, the standings stay the same, just the numbers change by half a point. But remember, not all draws have to be boring, like you just saw with that Sevian Ipatov game. The game of the day for round 6 on Thursday, March 16th, well, we're going to stay with David Howell as he has the white pieces against Vladimir Fedoseev. Sitting amongst the top of the best in Group B is chess commentator, broadcaster, journalist, Grandmaster Christian Chirila. Thank you for joining me. It's not
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're kind of buddies. We're not going to pretend like we're not. I mean, we went to the World Championship together.
We shared historical moments together. Absolutely.
Yeah, great roomie. And today, a good game. Take us through this game you played as white in Group B.
Yes, this is the second time I'm facing Robert. I think the first time it was in the World Championship under 10 years old. I remember he had a very mean mug, and that didn't change, but he's a very good friend. What I tried here is somehow find the best way to get my rooks with tempo on the king side. The thing is that at the beginning, the first few moves, I had to spend a lot of time. He had the easy moves. At this moment, I had maybe like 6 minutes left, if I remember correctly, and he had 15 minutes left. Nevertheless, in this position is he who has to make the decisions pretty much at every move. He has so many options. He can play the queen on a5. He can play queen d3, queen d2, queen b2. There's plenty of options available to him, and when you have little time and you don't really know which one is the best, it becomes a little bit difficult. So he played queen d3. We discussed a little bit, and I think queen d2 perhaps is a little bit better to get his queen back to g5. Nevertheless, he played queen d3, rook fd1, queen f5, rook c3. My rook is trying to swing over the third rank and go to f3, double up on the f file, then move my bishop and attack on f7. And I thought I have quite good compensation for my lost pawn, especially because of the time situation. This is a practical position, and whenever you're low on time, you know, 9 out of 10, I think white in a practical game should have the advantage. I'm pretty sure the computer is going to say no, you're wrong, and black is much better because of the pawn up. But I felt quite good at this moment. Knight d7, rook f3. My moves were easy. His moves were a little bit difficult. So I got to build up some sort of time differential here. Rook f1, f5. Interesting move, perhaps not the most precise. And now I have to make a decision also. I can just play bishop f3 and try to keep the structure like this, or I can take on f6, allow his knight to become a little bit more active, but in the same time activate my bishop, get a very, very nice square on e5 for my bishop. So this is what I did. I took on f6, knight takes f6, bishop g3. Now my bishop is heading towards the e5 square, very central. E5 and then rook g3 potentially is going to create a lot of problems for his king. Queen d2. Now if I go bishop e5, the problem is I am defending the d4 pawn, but he's going to play knight g4, and I'm not really sure what I can do next. So instead of that, I played rook d1, queen g5, and I think this is the critical moment when probably I made an unexpected move, which created serious trouble for him, especially with low time. Initially, I wanted to play bishop e5, but I soon realized that after knight g4, my idea was to play rook g3, and now after queen h5, bishop takes g7, king takes g7, h3, recapture the knight on g4, and then just have a much better position because of my optimal king safety. Nevertheless, the problem is after bishop g7, I'm simply dropping the pawn on h2 with a check. Queen takes g3, game is over. Black is winning. So I almost touched the piece. I didn't play bishop e5. And then I thought, okay, I should do some prophylaxis, play h3. This g4 square for the knight is extremely, extremely powerful. So if I take that away from him, my king becomes a little bit safer because I can always go king h2. And then I can just simply play bishop e5, rook g3. So he played b5, queen a6, b takes c4, bishop e5. And now with very low, maybe like a couple of seconds left on the clock, he played king h8. In the post-mortem, we decided that knight h5 is actually the best move. Again, I don't know what the computer is saying, so I might be wrong. But it's quite a funny move because this is a bad square for the knight. It's completely limited by the bishop on e5. Nevertheless, it keeps control over the g3 square. And at some point, black is going to try to exchange the rooks on the f file. There's very, very complicated variations. I'm not going to go through all of those. He played the move king h8, after which I think my position is simply just winning. Rook f1, rook f8, queen goes to b7. That's why I didn't take on b5, because I wanted to shift my queen towards his king and also keep control over the a8 rook. c3, rook g3, queen h6, bishop f4. Now the g7 pawn cannot be covered anymore, and his position collapses. He tried his last trick, let's say rook b8, bishop takes b8, c2, bishop f4. The bishop on f4 is returning. Now the thing is, if he takes on f4, I'm not going to take back and allow him to promote. This might be winning as well, but there is a much easier way to end the game, and that is queen takes g7. So he doesn't even have this tactic, and he played the move knight h5. Now I take the queen, rook takes, knight takes g3, king e1, and he resigned because of taking here. I simply grab this piece with a check, then protect against c1 queen, and the game is over.
Very cool. Well, congratulations on your victory over
Thank
Robert Hess,
Thank you.
former U.S. Championship competitor for a few years. And, well, there's 4 rounds left. Who do you have left to play in this tournament? Which game are you looking forward to most?
That's a provocative question.
It is. It's very, very deep, you know.
It's a provocative question. I think I have Ben Feingold, Barish Polets, who I believe if he won his game against Alejandro, he should be in the lead. So Alejandro and Rambaldi. Very, very tough opponents, all 4 top seeds, most of them. Alejandro is coming after a very successful Aeroflot Open. So I'm actually looking forward to the game against him. We have kind of this competitive dynamics between us. We like to trash talk a little bit. Alejandro definitely has the better score. He beat me like 3 times. I only made a draw. And he's going to have white, so... but I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun game for sure.
There's going to be a lot of trash talk on the line, you know. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. There's a lot of tension building up there.
Well, sitting right now as we speak at the top of the heap in Group B, congratulations
Thank
again. And let's take a look after the entire round is over. We'll reveal what the standings are after 5 in Group B. So Chirila beat Hess, but Barish Polets also beat Ramirez. So Andrei Barish Polets, the Ukrainian, still sits at an amazing 4.5 out of 5. The game of the day for Thursday, March 16th in Group B is quite obvious. The 2 frontrunners, Andrei Barish Polets as white, taking on Cristian Chirila with black. The 2017 Winter Chess Classic runs every day through Sunday, March 19th. Rounds begin at 1 p.m. each day except for the final round. See the games live as they happen on uschesschamps.com and chess24.com.